Okay, well, we're not going to have our intro music, but we're on the air. This is live. This is City Councilman Kaz Potowski, and phone number is on the TV there, 870-1284. We've already had a couple phone calls off the air. If they want to call back, we're on live now. And we're doing the show solo here on this cold, blustery day. Typical Erie day, but hey, we're tough up here and we'll get through it. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Haven't you?
Pardon?
You've been hiding?
No, I haven't. Why?
Huh? I loved you I watched you on council. When's the next council meeting?
It's always the first Wednesday, so that'll be coming up, let's see, February. See if I got my new schedule here.
The 3rd?
No, the 5th.
Oh, the 5th.
Right. So that'll be a day meeting. And, yeah, that'll be, why, you watch them?
Oh, yeah. That's all I can do, boss. I can't come down and beat on you.
Well, we'll have to get you down here somehow. Well, you could come on the air here for a while.
No.
No?
No, I'm on a bet. And I watch all these shows because I got to learn what's going on in this town.
Well, we try to keep you informed. There's a lot of things going down, it seems like.
Too much.
Well, it's a fast evolving world. What do you got for us today? Anything good?
No, I just called and you weren't sitting alone.
So you're surviving or what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not, I always laugh. You watch the people out east and they're talking about 5 inches of snow and
Yeah.
10, 15, we've had that for a few days here now, and we seem to get through it.
Yeah. That's the problem. People don't understand us.
Yep, I'd say, our roads are clear, people are getting around, so schools haven't been canceled lately, and
They've gone on late calls.
Oh yeah, that's mainly because of the buses out in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Although I got my wife homesick, she's not doing too well today.
What happened?
She got a bad, nasty cold.
Oh, I thought you beat her a few times.
No, she teaches, and sometimes the little kids bring that stuff to.
Yes, they do. They love bringing that to me.
Yes, they do. That's why I'm trying to stay healthy, stay away from it. I don't need to see any more doctors this year.
Can't afford them.
No, I mean, yeah, that's true too. And I every time you don't feel good, you can't get back to your normal progression of what you like doing.
That's the whole problem in this world. Anybody else calling?
We got a couple calls off the air, and I told them to call back in about a minute or so. I hope we get some calls. I'll be bored today.
Okay, well, I'll get off the line and let somebody else get in on.
Yeah, if nobody calls, call back. We can always talk about something.
All righty.
Okay.
Bye.
And here we go. I always love calls. Go ahead, caller.
Can't let you sit there all by your lonesome.
I don't want to be. Why don't you come down here sometime?
Sometimes I might. I'm just healing up pretty good.
Why? What happened to you? If you slip again?
Split my head open and my nose and.
Where, on the ice?
Yeah, on the coming off of the street into my driveway.
Oh, that's always the bad part.
Yeah, I know it. I should have called and sued the city.
Why? We don't be sued.
Well, I know the mayor gets happy when the federal courts throw him out. But I understand that the council president wants to take away the First Amendment rights of the citizens of the city of Erie.
What's that? You mean he's speaking at the end of the meeting or the beginning?
No, he wants to have the citizens not to talk on anything except what's on the agenda. Now, does this mean...
No, I think the way... You know what? I was surprised by that. I didn't see that coming. I hadn't been notified of that, but it sounds, and I was going to check with the city clerk on it, it sounds like if you got business concerning the agenda, you'll be at the front of the meeting like you normally are?
Yeah, well, in other words, it's going to be like the county or the school district. You have to get an appointment to speak on such an item, and you'll be allowed so many minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, if you're not, he sounds like he wants to take away the amount of time that you're allowed to speak.
I think if it's non-agenda business, you go to the end of the meeting.
Well, how could the non-agenda business be waived by city council then, because a lot of that garbage is being taken care of in the caucus room? Does that mean the whole agenda is going to have to be presented before the council out in the open and not in the caucus room?
Well, the agenda, I think, I'm going to have to check. I think it's available on the internet.
It is available on the internet, but a lot of the stuff is done and voted on in the caucus room, and that is when whoever up there, council, wants to waive the rest of the agenda and go directly to whatever. But if they want to speak on something, they'll say, well, they want to speak on this, and they eliminate the whole ball of wax.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because you know what? I didn't get it didn't come from me for a vote, so I don't know what happened.
I have a lot of spies out there.
Yeah, it didn't come before me. My idea would have been, when we were on the school board, here's how we handled it, John. If it was city school board business, you had 2 minutes or 5 minutes, okay?
That's if you signed in.
Well, 5 minutes if you signed in. If you showed up at the door, it was 2 minutes, okay?
The county does the same way.
Yeah, if you and you
if you request to speak, you're allowed 5 minutes. If you're just coming in to speak, you're allowed 3 minutes.
Right, and the thing was, you were supposed to put down your topic. However, if you start talking about city council business at the school board,
they wouldn't let you speak.
no, and I think that's fair. I mean,
Right, it's just like people coming and talking about the county or whatever.
and I think that's what they're trying to do, but I really believe by doing it this way, they want to,
First Amendment rights and freedom of speech.
they've tried this before. We'll see how it happens. I want to see how it was.
It's bad enough that the city council only meets twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
That was another joke, because you're being paid per year for 52 weeks of representation of the citizens. But you had Curtis Jones come up and say, well, we don't want it that way. We just want it twice a month. One meeting in the nighttime and one meeting in the daytime. There's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot going on in government that deserves more than 20 minutes of your time. And council meetings don't seem to last more than 15 minutes because everything is being done in a caucus room, and the taxpayers are not getting to see what is really going on.
Well, you know that a lot of the stuff that's on the agenda is pretty much, and I don't mean to demean it.
Cut and dry.
Well, a lot of it is just bills and contracts that are everyday business. The
Everyday business that the mayor doesn't know a thing about.
Why, he should. His finance director and
Well, his finance dance director doesn't know anything about it.
when we that was the job of when I was the controller. You had to make sure that the things that went on the agenda were proper. That they had to be okayed by council. Like the controller presents the bills and payroll. That's just everyday bills. That's going to, for the average citizen, he can look through it. It's going to be boring because it's everything we buy on an everyday basis.
It's like applications for grants and loans.
Well, those are on there as you'll see it on first reading and second reading, okay? And, certainly as a citizen, you can ask for an explanation of that, or you can sit in on I'm pretty sure you can sit on the caucus meetings. You're not allowed to speak unless you ask permission, but you can certainly hear what's going on.
If this passes city council, I think there should be no more caucus meetings. It should be out in front.
Well, caucus meetings are advertised, and if they're advertised, you can sit in on them.
Well, I've never seen one advertised.
Oh, they're in the paper, John.
Caucus meeting is advertised?
They will.
I'm talking about public hearings?
Any time under the Sunshine Law that a majority of the council is conducting business, or any elected board, school board, authorities, boards, they all have to advertise. Even our pension meetings, we advertise in the newspaper. And, you're welcome to come and sit in on them. Nobody does usually, you know, but they're there.
Well, just like your city solicitors upstairs when they made the application for the CRIZ zone for the city for Scott Enterprises, where they should have known that an existing authority cannot be able to issue bonds for CRIZ zone. And they said that they went according to what the state told them to do. I don't believe that.
I don't know what happened, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of that east of the Susquehanna crap that goes on too in this state.
Well, sure, but you have a redevelopment authority down there taking free rent from the taxpayers as it is.
Well, one way or the other, we are liable for them. I'd keep telling you.
Well, that's beside the point.
I know, but the trouble is they got, we won't rehash the old days. We know what happened.
Well, yeah, but still, you can get rid of all these six-figure CEO salaries and put it into perspective where you have an opportunity to raise the salary or deny the salary. On an autonomous authority, you don't have a say.
Well, it all comes down to
Dollars and cents.
it all depends who is picked for these boards, and sometimes they have to be, you know, even though they're independent, there has to be a sense that, you know, when previous, if you go back many years ago, nobody,
Should be a time limit on who.
nobody in these authorities made that kind of six-figure money, you know, figures for administering them.
That's true, but now they all do.
They're making more than the mayor of Erie.
True.
And you know, whether you look for, if you look for justification,
Making more than a lot of the elected officials down there.
absolutely. And
Where does she live? She lives in McCain.
who's that?
Jill Beck
I'm not sure where she lives, but you can
lives in
probably,
the city of Erie. She doesn't pay city of Erie taxes.
you have unfortunately, we have a 15-mile limit.
Anybody worked in my administration, they would be a taxpayer of the city of Erie.
Well, you can't, unfortunately, John, that,
I know what you're saying.
I know
But
that-
if I was a mayor, anybody who was on my administrative staff would have to live in the city of Erie.
yeah, well, you could do that, but if they decide to move out after you hire them, there's not much you could do.
That would be fine, and that would be grounds for me to say, I do not want you as my executive assistant. I'm going to reappoint another one.
You probably have a lawsuit on that one. That's a,
I have a lawsuit.
well, I agree with you, John. I never was in favor of, I think, you know, back when my dad was a police officer, and back when, you know, well, they all had to live, whether you were a teacher, an
Right,
employee.
that was a federal mandate that the federal government stuck their 2 cents in again.
But I think, you know, when we look at reasons why, you know, the city's in the shape it's in, well, you know, a lot of the people that,
Everybody working in the city of Erie do not live in the city of Erie.
oh, they all bail out at night.
But how did we find out about the cardboard, and where would Sarah Galloway tell you about how our fees are more or less?
That one, John, I didn't take care of. That's my fault. I have to meet with her.
Because,
I got to meet with her actually about a couple of different issues.
no, that's true. You know, you're going to find out there's people out there that trust you more than the present council.
I tell you what, I'm busier now than I ever was, John. I thought,
You thought it was going to be a piece of cake.
no, I didn't think. I know it's a lot.
Well, no, because there's a lot of people out there who have trust in somebody, and they convey all the calls because they trust you more than the rest of the city council, because they're all bobbleheads that agree with everything the mayor says.
I might have to get you on my staff unofficially as a volunteer.
Yeah,
I might have to have you help me out with some issues. I got too much to handle right now.
that's true. Are you doing anything else besides working on council?
No, I'm still looking.
That's what I told my wife after I retired. I'm still looking.
Retirement is no fun, let me tell you.
It depends on what you're doing.
Well, I'm too young to retire yet.
No, you're not.
What?
You're only a couple years older than I am.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I want to be retired yet.
Well, they're looking for greeters at Walmart.
Oh, boy.
That's what my wife always told me.
There's a job I'm looking forward to.
I told her I'd go sell pencils in front of Kmart first.
I think I could be a credit manager at Target right now.
Yeah, they could use one. They could use somebody that has a good deal of the firewall. What do you think about this deal out in Harbor Creek with this port city Hyatt transfer? Or?
Well, it seems like there's a lot of questions. It doesn't seem like Harbor Creek is into it. Do you think?
They never had any public hearings.
Yeah, see, that always scares me. I mean, these people of vision that think up these things.
Well, that's the whole thing here. They're looking for federal money. They're looking for state money. And who's going to benefit the most besides CX Railroad?
I mean, if there's I don't know if Randy Barnes tells if he's absolutely on key, but you know what? It begs to be understood. I mean, is there businesses looking to do business at this rail yard, or are we just building it and they will come thing again,
Just like John Elliott, he should not have his fingers in Ashtabula. He should not have them in Harbor Creek. He should not have them all over all over the whole lakefront.
I mean, if we're that valuable, how come we're not a major link?
You had...
You know the passenger train, John? Remember that thing, John?
Yeah.
It was going to go to Cleveland and it was going to go to Buffalo.
Amtrak.
Yeah, and the part in between was not going to be high speed.
No, it can't be.
So how, now I'm getting a mixed message like, well, if we're not important for passenger train service, for upgrades to the tracks, now all of a sudden we're okay for the other thing? I don't get it,
No, and besides CSX give McKeesport down there, they have a hub down that way. They give them $50 million. They haven't given a cent to this Harbor Creek deal.
Even in the golden days of the Port of Erie, the Conneaut port was doing more business than we were.
That's true. I don't know what the problem was. But up here, we had everything they had down there.
Well, I think the problem was there was never a rail line from Pittsburgh to Erie, but there's one from Pittsburgh to Conneaut.
That's true. But, down there at the old waterfront, they had the grain elevator, they had the coal docks, they had the pulpwood docks. They were doing a booming business with boats coming from Canada all up and down the sea line. And it went out of Erie. It went up to Conneaut, it went up to Ashtabula, it went up that way. Why? I guess it's just because it went down. Hammermill used to buy all that pulpwood. They found different ways of producing the pulp out of various things, and it just dried up. And the coal, the president doesn't want us to use coal or fossil fuel anymore. And what kind of a disaster is that? The Keystone Pipeline out there would put millions of dollars up this way that Canada wants to come through. And we'll hear his garbage tomorrow on State of the Union. But I just thought I'd call and rattle a little bit and see what's going on. And it's a little nice weather out there. I guess out in the west, they're running out of propane. They can't get enough to keep the homes heated. There's another reason the pipeline could be used, and who knows?
Yep.
But you haven't looked into anything yet, son. You're busy. You're a busy guy.
Well, I got to organize my schedule. It's a little different now that I'm balancing different things, and it'll be okay.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. You'll have more time to go visit and look around. And so, how's your old staff doing? Are they happy?
Yep, they're good. I visit them every once in a while.
That's good.
I still push the third floor button here once in a while, so it's going to take a while.
You come in and, hey, after you've been on something for 12 years and you're more into a pattern, it's just like a new world.
Yep.
Now you've got more power.
I don't know about that, but...
Now you can find more skeletons.
There you go.
This dog show they had up there at the convention center over the weekend. I see they were charging $6 admission per person. Now, do we get any realization from that tax money?
Yes, we do. We get 3% of that.
3% because it was $6?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't remember how the ordinance was written.
Well, the ordinance says anything over $5.
Well, then we would get it, yes.
But
David Rocco was pretty good on collecting from the convention center. And I see that when I was controller, the numbers, he would collect for the different events, and he was doing a good job.
there is a man who does a wonderful job.
Yeah, he needs help.
He has a lot of responsibilities a lot of territories, and a lot of people take advantage of the man.
He does meet with, like, Casey Walls all the time, and, so he is getting, the share of the events from there.
But, a lot of times they won't charge admission, so they don't pay anything.
Yeah, that's their,
And the vendors are selling, and they're making money. And the whole thing there is, there should be ways of bringing revenue. And I see they had a couple of people that were in arrears in their garbage funds. But how can you be in arrear for 8 years and then you go make a payment plan?
You choose to do that, that's why.
You're choosing because you're in the open eye now. You're in the fishbowl, and the people are looking into the fishbowl. A school director and a new county council person? Come on, let's see the rest of them. And the same thing with these landlords. They can say, well, it's the responsibility of the renter to do this, but I disagree with that. Because I'm sure they're charging enough to take care of that. Mm-hmm. And your landlords that are up and up, they tell the people outright, you are responsible for water, for sewer, and for garbage. They tell them outright. And that, therefore, it's billed in whoever's renting the property. Now, I don't know if these other people are doing that, but what we should do is we should not give them that license to be a landlord.
Well, that's something I'm going to look into, so.
Okay, I've been watching the roads. The roads are getting terrible. I guess there's a big water leak up in Upper Peach Street, I think.
Ooh, we don't need that.
And, of course, we'll get all that with the heaving and freezing and thawing. But all that money Joyce put into relining all this water stuff way back when seems not to have done a thing, does it?
Doesn't seem like it did.
I guess we got to go with the PVC pipe, heavy stuff. So, but have a great day.
You too. If it gets dead, call back.
Okay.
And we're on it again about the garbage fees. I have an idea of something I'm going to announce shortly. And go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Kez.
Yep.
I know different people's called on this, but I just wondered if you found out anything on all the potholes on Buffalo Road.
Well, they mentioned they are aware of it, and they're right now they're saying that it's too cold to put patches in there. But I heard the mayor on one of the other talk shows, and he's aware of it. The streets department's aware of it. When I called in, they're aware of it. I think they're waiting for the temperature to ease up a little bit.
Yeah, it's all the way from.
Oh yeah, they know it's a war zone. They're aware of it.
All the way from Broad Street to Downing.
I think with the cold weather, they're just going to wait a little bit till it warms up.
Hey, also, I called about a month ago about all the trash on West 19th.
Yep.
Close to, let's say, 19th and Sass.
Right, they turned that into code. Did they do anything about it?
No, not yet. I ride by every day when I come to work, and
That's West 19th?
yes, south of Country Fair there.
Okay, I know, like around Hickory there?
Yeah.
Along West 19th Street garbage, right?
Yeah, it's in the parking lot of St. Vincent's Rehab Center, right across from there.
Oh, you know what? I drove by there one day,
Yeah, they got couches.
and there was so much snow there I couldn't see it. I'm going to have to go by today again and take a look.
Yeah, if you pulled in that parking lot just south of Country Fair, you'll see all the couches and the tires and chairs.
Yeah, the one day I went by the snow was so high you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
But I'll go by there today and then turn that in.
All right.
But, yeah, the Buffalo Road, I'll mark it down again. I know they're aware of it because, when I mentioned the streets department they were on, and the mayor got hammered over the head with it on that talk show.
Oh, about Buffalo Road?
Yeah, they said it was like a war zone on there.
Oh, yeah, it's not just 5 or 6 potholes. It's the whole road.
I mean, even if they put cold patch, it's going to pop out. So that's going to be pretty much, they'll put temporary repairs, but that's going to have to be probably when we really get into like spring and summer.
Okay, Kaz, that's all I got then.
Yep, but I'll turn it in again.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay. Let's see. Well, one bit of good news for on the employment side was I see they finally got some people to move into the Troyer plant, and they're looking at employing at least 150 people, maybe 300 or more in the future. That'd be good news. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on.
Kaz, I have a question. Is
Sure.
there an ordinance?
Pardon?
Is there a city ordinance for anybody that buys a house or sells a house in the city of Erie that if they have a 60 amp service, it should be upgraded to 100 amp or more?
That'd be a question for the electrician. Let me see if I heard that right. When they sell a house, right?
Right, sell a house or buy a house.
Okay.
If it's an old 60 amp service, because you know people are going to upgrade their house, which means they're going to upgrade their electricity and whatnot, to upgrade it to 100 amp or plus more, or 100 amp or more, that would be safer, and you're not having the fuses no more. You have your, what do you call it?
Circuit breakers.
Breaker, yeah.
Yeah, I have circuit breakers, but you know, in the world we live in today, it seems like even they're not enough anymore because we're really overloading the kitchens in some of these houses.
Right, well, you figure with a 60 amp service, that's really overloading it for fuses, and then you end up with pennies behind the fuses, which will start a house fire.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's upgraded to 100 amp, you really don't have that problem.
I'm going to check. I'll check with our electrician. I'll get back and try to report it to you next week.
Okay.
But you want to know if there's an ordinance that covers that?
Yes, I'm interested in that. And I also have something else here.
Okay.
Garbage bill, past due bills.
Yeah.
Well, I figured, how can the city let this go this far?
Well, it's not like we let it go. See, we don't. Here's what happens. We don't collect the bills anymore. They're out of the water authority.
Okay.
But they put a lien on the property, although that doesn't seem to be working.
Yes.
It's a municipal lien, and it has to be paid off when the house is sold. Well, eventually you'll get it off a single-person household. The problem we seem to be having is that the landlords never really flip the property. They may flip tenants, but they never flip the property that much.
Okay, but I understand with manufacturing, as in good-paying jobs leaving Erie, money boils down to retail part-time jobs. That's what's going to be left in this town.
Right.
So how does the city expect somebody with an $8,000 past due bill, expect them to pay with a part-time job and a family?
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Could have been nipped in the butt a long time ago.
Well, I think the problem is if it's an individual house, somebody that was having that kind of problem probably didn't have was probably renting, I would think. And it seems to be like the landlords are the ones that are not paying the bill.
Well, aren't the landlords issued licenses to...
Yes, they are, and that's one of the things council will be looking at is I know I'd be in favor of saying if the landlord does not make the payments to the city for garbage and other, taxes and all that, then we should not allow them to have an occupancy certificate for that house.
And does the lien go against their property?
Well, the lien goes against the property owner. In a lot of cases, when they were looking at the list, there's a lot of landlords that have a lot of properties that are on that list. And so you lien that, but if he doesn't sell the property, and all he does is flip the apartments, the lien doesn't kick in, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, you guys, it sounds like you got a plan going on.
What do you mean?
Well, I heard you earlier saying something to John about you have something in the plans for...
Well, we're at our next finance meeting, which is the 5th, after the council meeting.
Right.
It'll be sometime in the afternoon. The council wants to attack the issue, and it was different councilmen. Well, it was said that all of us should bring in our ideas. I have my own couple ideas that I've been tossing around. I'm still, looking into it.
Good.
And what we hope is that out of all these ideas, that we present something to the solicitor, and we can try some other things. The lien system doesn't seem to be working. I mean, like, you probably own your house, correct?
Right.
So if you sell your house to me, Okay, at that point, one of us, well, you have to pay it,
Okay.
okay? But if you're a landlord and all you're doing is changing tenants, it's not working because they're not selling their properties. They're keeping them for years and years.
All this town is getting to be is rent, 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 rent.
Right, and that's making a problem with the garbage. We have to, the landlords are really the property owners. And even though they may tell the tenants they have to pay the garbage bill, it's really their responsibility. That's what we're looking at.
Well, I hope you guys come up with something. I had a big long list I was going to read off to you, but...
Well, why don't you go ahead? No, go ahead.
Well, it was my whole thing. I was going to explain to you about people with an $8,000 past due bill. How do you expect them to pay with a part-time job?
That's true. That's going to be a real problem.
You got 7 people on council that can't come up with anything, but at the end of the year, to raise the garbage fees. Mm-hmm. And in the long run, who's at fault for all this? We're not keeping up with the overdue payments.
Well, like I said, I really want to start being a little proactive because I think this thing has gone on too long, and the system we have now is not working. We have to find some other way of doing it because it's not fair to the other taxpayers who get up every day and pay their bills.
Exactly.
I mean, we got seniors that throw out a bag that's about as big as one of the blue bags you get in the grocery stores.
About me, like that. I do the same thing, a 13-gallon bag once a week.
Yeah, and they're paying, and so, I mean, the people that are making $8,000, the question has to be, how did they get in this hole,
My thing is that if you looked in the paper on GoErie.com, there was a garbage bill of $8,000.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's some big ones on there.
But again, like I was saying, how do you expect them to pay with a part-time job and a family? I mean, not making $8,000, that's an $8,000 bill.
Yeah, to accrue that, though, it's been going on a long time.
Well, it might be having to have you on city council get things rolling. I mean, you should be might have to vote you for mayor to get something done.
Well, I'm definitely one that wants to be, I come from the school that, if the old thing ain't working, let's try something new. If they rule it illegal, let the courts tell us that,
The rest of them just sit on their thumbs and not even think about anything or do anything or bring anything up about this.
Well, I think it's a real problem. People come to me all the time and they're saying, it looks like we charge them an extra tax. It feels like it to them.
Already paying the tax. It's in our taxes. Mm-hmm. But now it's an extra tax. And
some people want to
up and up and up.
Some people want to see the bill go back into the general budget, and that way, when we did that, we had a better collection because then we could turn over the collection.
And there's no way that could be overturned?
Put it back into the general budget?
That could be overturned to go back into the general budget?
It would take a vote of council, and I don't, quite frankly, I don't know if it's there,
Maybe we need 6 other people in there like you.
Well, I definitely, the old system's not working, that's for sure. It's,
Agree.
I keep telling people not all landlords are bad, but we have a segment of landlords in this town that are starting to turn good neighborhoods into bad neighborhoods.
Right.
And it's not, I'm not mad about Merciers to kids. Kids are kids, but the landlords are causing this problem to exist. Neighborhoods are getting run down, bills aren't getting paid, and that's not the type of image we want. When I was a kid, it seemed like the people that rented their homes out they lived on the spot. They might have rented out a flat. Now we have professional landlords in this city.
Well, we're going to have to screen our landlords a little better, I guess.
Well, we're going to have to see what other towns do. There's got to be other things that other communities have tried that, that's a nice thing I like about when you go to the League of Cities or you contact other people, just talking to them, you find out, like even south of here in Edinburgh, they were very, very proactive on different problems. They tried it, they were taken to court, they were, and some they won, some they lost. But, you got to make the attempt to bring the horse back in the barn.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Because he's definitely out and running loose.
You sound like our next Mario Bagnoni almost.
Well, Mario, I like to think that he brought things to attention, and I think, that's what your job on council is, at least try. I mean, we're here to try. Maybe we can't get it accomplished, but Mario used to always tell me, just try at least. And that's one thing I hope I can do, but...
Well, you're doing a good job, I think, so far. It's been a short time, and we've got a long way to go for that. You sound like you're the top dog so far.
Well, we'll see. You know, I'm gonna have some ideas. They may not like them, but...
Can they hire a collection agency to get the money, or that won't do no good?
Well, you know, from what I hear, the collection agencies can only work if they have some kind of weapon in their arsenal. Like, for instance, when we're low on our real estate tax, every couple of years we seem to farm it out or something to another outfit. Okay.
Okay.
They will come in and they'll give you 75, 80 cents on the dollar.
Okay.
Which to the city is not a bad deal. And you know, you're getting what we consider a fair return. However, when they do that, they go in there knowing that they have a little bit of power in their back. Trouble with the garbage bills are you cannot, like the water bill, you can turn off the water. That's a definite impetus to pay your bill.
Right.
But you can't stop picking up garbage.
Definitely, I see that. That's a health and safety issue.
Well, they say you know, here's where it gets confusing. I don't know if there's a law that says you can't refuse to pick up the garbage, because they tell me in Mill Creek, and this is why I want to call up, they have that waste management out there. I think they will refuse to pick up your garbage, but the bottom line is, if you're living next door to it, now you're getting the bad part of it, you know.
Right, I understand.
So the city's kind of like in a hole, but I want to check if it's, you know, whether we can legally stop garbage. You know, not that we would.
Right.
But I'd like to know, you know, just where all the laws stand, because right now, if you have to pick up the garbage and they just, you know, poo-poo you, and that's one of the things that probably Mario should have told people was not to pay your garbage bill, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
And because that's caused us a lot of grief now. And it's not little people doing it now. Now it's the big landlords.
Right, okay.
If you saw that list, that list was kind of embarrassing.
Yes, it was. I couldn't believe it. It was almost like the whole city of Erie.
Yeah, and there was a couple. There was at least one member of the media who I always laugh when I see him or her. I'm going to remind them their name was on there.
Okay,
because they always jumping on me for being elected official. You know, lead by example.
Yeah, at least you can take the heat. That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, so if you're a media member, your name shouldn't be on there either.
True.
And there was some elected officials, some prominent people in the community. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, I saw a few names on there that I knew too, but I live by myself, and like I say, I only put out a bag a week and stuff like that, but I'm working part-time because I lost my full-time job, and I'm trying to find a full-time job, and...
Good luck.
That's what it is, and I'm trying to upkeep everything, and it's tough.
Maybe we'll hire out, I was going to tell you, they got that potato chip plant out in Waterford that's just opening up again.
Yeah, I heard you were talking about that.
You know, that's what we need is a few more jobs, you know, hopefully better paying jobs, but...
Yeah, but bring them closer to Erie.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing, you know.
Yep. Well, you have a good day, and good luck with the rest of your show.
You too, stay warm, and I'll try to get you an answer on that electric service.
Okay, I thank you very much, Kaz. Take care.
I'll talk to our electric inspector.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, garbage fees are still in the news, and I hope we come up with a solution. I really do. We're going to try something. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, how you doing?
Pretty good. Cold but nice.
Hey, when it comes to taxes, fees, and nonprofits, I know nonprofits don't pay taxes, but don't they pay fees? Don't they have to pay for water, sewer, garbage pickup?
I think they pay for water, yes.
Okay, because I thought that was part of the original reason why they started charging those fees was to get around the nonprofits, to get some income from them. So if we put the water, sewer, and garbage back in with the taxes,
well, the
then
sewer,
we're just going to lose the money we're getting from the nonprofits.
Nonprofits don't pay for garbage because they have to have their own service.
Okay, they do have their own service. Okay.
I think even the house. I know I'm not sure about this, but I think the housing authority has their garbage picked up too.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was another thing too. See, see, I was always under the assumption that if you were a resident, a private residence of the city of Erie, you had to pay garbage bill. I can't go with a private hauler.
I don't think you can. Somebody else asked me that question, and I don't have the answer yet, but I asked a couple people, and they don't think that's possible. But that's I'll put it down as one of the things I want to look up.
Okay, yeah, I was always under that assumption. I pay my bills, and I'm like the other guy there. I put out a bag a week. I get them in the summertime with the grass clippings. I put out 5-6 barrels a week every week, and leaf cleanup and that. But I guess in the long run, you really can't complain for what you're paying. But
one problem I see with private, if you were to do that like you do, let's say somebody wanted to, I'm not saying you would do this, but somebody could say, well, you know what, I'm going to have a private hauler, not do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, that
and then take the garbage.
Clean up a lot, I see.
And then take the garbage over to the neighbor's house,
Yeah, well, with the spring cleanup, I got neighbors that I know have family from, Waterford, Wattsburg, Mill Creek, and, they'll bring in couches and dump it with their permission, but still, I see a lot of that happening during the spring cleanup, and even during, a lot of people don't realize, I'm pretty sure you're allowed to put out unlimited numbers of bags.
Oh, I know, yeah, there's people that, you see them around town. You'll see the car pull up and they'll put bags of garbage out in the streets that are being collected.
Yeah, even last year during spring cleanup, I had somebody dumped a couple bags of used tires in front of my house. I was surprised they came and picked it up, because usually they won't do that. And I said, I know them tires have serial numbers on them, and you can trace it back to where them tires came from, whether they were on a new car or somebody bought them somewhere. I said, they're not my tires. I said, you either pick them up or I'll leave them out there till you do pick them up. And they came and got them.
Yeah, tires are a big problem because you just can't dispose of them anywhere you want anymore.
Yeah, I understand, but still, if somebody's going to dump garbage in front of my house, I'm not going to be responsible for it. Just please come and get it. And they did, so. But, I was just wondering, though, about the nonprofits, because I kind of thought that was part of the reason why we started a fee, was to get around that nonprofit rule a little bit there, to have them pay, at least for some of their services.
Yeah, I think they obviously don't pay real estate, but I do think they have to pay for water and everything else. There's no free, I don't think they get free one.
I was just wondering about that.
We have to, in this state, we're going to have to come up with a plan of, I don't know if taxing them is the right word, but we're going to have like a public safety fee or something.
Well, what's the thing? Where can people pay that $50 a year or $52 a year, or whatever it is? The employment tax. That's supposedly for safety, isn't it? For police and fire.
It is, but when you look at the nonprofits, the employees may be paying that, but
that's what I'm saying. Why couldn't they do something like that for the nonprofits?
But you still got street plowing and everything else that they take advantage of, and it's going to be a conversation item, because many of your large cities for sure in the Commonwealth, but all over the country are tackling the same issue.
Oh, yeah. Well, and like that one guy I was talking about there, though, it all comes down to employment, too. More people are working, the more revenue you got coming in.
Oh, yeah, that's, the ideal thing is...
and then it cracks me up to see the unemployment numbers, and all them are the numbers of people that are collecting unemployment.
Yep, that's true. That's not a true figure.
That aren't collecting unemployment, that aren't listed.
That's right. That's not a true figure.
There's a lot more than 8% unemployment. So.
And you know what's sad is that in the old days when Erie was 130,000 people, we were in the same boat Mill Creek and Summit are. We were growing our way into prosperity. And now, we're hitting hard times, and all communities will hit hard times, And that's the problem is, like, what do you do? Like now, we can't keep taxing the people that are left in the city. We got to try to grow the economy here. We got to try to bring some new businesses in, or some new, people to live here actually.
Yep.
That solves a lot of the taxation issues.
When you live long enough, you realize things come and go, up and down.
Oh, I said it before, if being my age, that, I've seen all the changes in how they designed State Street, slowing it down, speeding it up.
Yeah, look at the Bayfront Highway. They designed that back in the 60s, with just 2 lanes and a turning lane,
Yep.
That should have been right off the bat, should have been at least 5 lanes, 4 lanes and a turning lane.
And then,
Did you catch that highway, Bayfront Highway, when there's a wreck on 90 or 79, or, that's bumper to bumper, or even rush hour in the morning and evening. It takes a while to get across the Bayfront Highway. Just a lot of things they did don't make sense.
no, I can remember when they designed that, they said, well, that wasn't going to be the highway. The highway was going to be on top of the bluff.
Yeah.
But that horse left the barn when they developed along the water, the bluff up there.
Yeah. Well, and then all the shipping industry disappeared on the waterfront. So
What we don't have in this town is a true, and I said this, most big cities have either a east-west or a north-south interstate going right through them.
oh. Yeah, well, I was born and raised on the Bayfront. I actually used to hunt rabbits and train hunting dogs over on the West Bayfront. That's how undeveloped it was at one time, when there was all the shipping industry was gone. There was nothing along there but abandoned railroad tracks, and it was all overgrown. There's nothing down there really but the boathouses.
Oh, you're right. There wasn't much. I can remember they had on the east side there. They had some garbage fields and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Hell, we used to ride dirt bikes, ride snowmobiles. That was more or less almost like a waterfront wilderness when I was growing up.
Yeah, it was always a forgotten.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks it looks nice today.
Oh yeah, they did a real good job with the last couple of years cleaning up the hillside, and then you got the businesses putting their advertising up there with their gardens around them. So, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I just I hope that with this project, if we get it, that with Nick Scott and the GAF property and all that could help the city tax-wise.
Oh yeah. Nick Scott does things right. My wife worked for him back in the 70s and 80s. Remember the Char House at 12th and Sass before it was an Arby's?
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, he was not an easy guy to work for, but a fair guy that knew what he was doing.
Well, I had to deal with him. I worked for a local company for a number of years, and I was a credit manager and accountant. And dealing with him was like, and I said this to his face once. It was an anonymous task. He had his way of doing business, and we had our way.
Yep.
And sometimes we clashed. But I said this publicly, that if I ever had a project that I wanted to know if it would work, he would be one of the first people I would ask.
Oh, no doubt. Yep.
And that's why when we talk about the need for hotels down there, that's why I think we should proceed cautiously. That when you got a private businessman that's willing to put up his own money.
Yeah, why would you spend taxpayers' money on putting up another hotel? That just don't make no sense to me.
Yeah, a lot of people think that's not going to cost anything, but you know what? Guarantee or not, it's government money is involved in part of this, and will be in the future.
How is that hotel doing down there? Is it making money, or?
That's a good question. I wish I could tell you.
I don't know. I never really see anything about that.
It is partially subsidized, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, but
there's no doubt that I think what tells you need more hotels is when private businessmen like Nick Scott says he's willing to build one, then that tells you there is a need.
Yeah.
And I think that waterfront, we've been dicking around for a number of years. It's time we either did it or don't do it.
Yeah, it never made no sense to me why that even I know the peninsula is a state park, but why wasn't that full of hotels and casinos? Almost like
unfortunately, there you'd have to build it about where Paul Nelson is, because even he had trouble extending the park with the state. Remember?
Yeah.
There's another good businessman. There's a guy there.
Park and ecological preserve, and I understand that, but
that's okay. But around there, that's where leading into the park, I think that's where, you need some development.
Yeah. Hey, one more comment. Nothing to do with City of Erie, but the City of New York. You see their 9/11 museum? They're going to charge a $24 fee.
Wow.
Yeah. How many people are not going to go to that because of that fee, huh?
That's the trouble with most museums. If they're not government funded, like they are in Washington, then, the cost to maintain them are tremendous.
Yeah, well, and I read in the paper was they overran on costs of building it, and they figured costs of operating it, and then they had that Superstorm Sandy there flooded just about everything that they had already done. So that was a big extra cost, but still $24 for a 9/11 Memorial Museum. It's hard to believe that wouldn't be subsidized somehow.
I hope if there's one good thing they do is that they allow the people that were victims there, their families free admission. Yeah,
I'm sure they are, and they probably offer something for veterans or something like that along the line. But all right, Kaz, I'll let you go. Like I said, my original question was about the difference between the fees and taxes and the nonprofits.
I will check on that, but pretty much I think they do have to pay fees and taxes. They just get away on the real estate, though.
Yeah.
But I'll try to report that to you next week then.
All right, take care.
Okay. We're a little short of time, but if you want to get a call in next couple of minutes, otherwise we'll be going off the air. And here we go. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I got one quick question for you.
Yeah.
With this small game of chance that Harrisburg is getting ready to have people apply for it, I see they have a 5% tax for cities that are going to be drawn out of that, along with the money that Harrisburg is going to get for it. But will nonprofits have to pay that 5% sales tax to the cities?
I thought that this new bill, was for the little bars and taverns.
That's what it is.
Not the social clubs, which already have gambling.
Yeah, but these are for bars and taverns.
Yeah.
They say that the city the establishments in the city will be paying 5% city tax to these various cities, and I think 60% to the state. But then again, it came out to me, the nonprofits, will they have to pay that?
You know what? I'm going to call my legislator, Pat Harkins.
Yes, do that.
I'm going to see if I can get a copy of the bill. Let's see, new gambling rules, 5% to cities. How about nonprofits, okay?
Yeah, and one other quick thing.
Yeah.
I see they're going to have public hearings for this garbage fee. Isn't it a little late to have public hearings on something that's already been voted on? Or is it to get an idea how to collect the fees? Why would you hold a public hearing on a fee that has already been implemented?
I'll report on that next week, John. I'll see which one it's about, okay?
Have a great one.
Okay. And with that, I was given a sign we have to be off the air. So thank you again for calling, and we'll see you again here next week. We'll go off the air with this call. Go ahead, caller.
Hello, Kaz. Are the city council meetings going to be first two Wednesdays and then 2 weeks off?
No, it's the 5th of February, okay?
Yeah.
That's a morning meeting, and then it goes to the 19th of February, which is a evening meeting.
Oh, I thought they changed it because they had the meetings on the 8th and the 15th of this month, and now 2 weeks off.
Well, they did it on the 8th and the 15th because the first was a holiday.
Yeah, but they still could have staggered them. That's what.
Yeah, they didn't do. I don't know why they didn't do that, but this month they will be staggered in February.
Oh, they're going back to every other week.
Yeah.
Okay, and are you going to be on next week, do you think?
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's a reason why we wouldn't be. There's no holiday.
Oh, okay.
As long as City Hall's open and there's no problems, I'll be on the air.
Okay, Kaz, good.
Okay?
Program today. Okay, thank you.
We'll see you.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you for tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.